Hello, Tyrant Bunt here. Let's go bonk some people. So, I tried modding this game, and I ran into a weird issue, and if somebody actually wants to help me with this one, oh, shoot. I'm not actually recording. There we go. Hi. You guys got a face full of snom, but that's fine. Let's see. So, I was trying to set this up so modding would work. I got it working. I got the mod functional. The problem is I couldn't save. So I actually have no idea how to fix that. So we're just not going to. Not currently. I'm just going to keep playing this game. This game looks interesting. Have you ever played Path of Exile? Super similar. Diablo, super similar. Same vein of games. It's made by the people that made Titan Quest, who are absolutely fantastic developers. They made Titan Quest, they made this. I don't know if they've made anything else. But, like, to be entirely honest, I prefer this game to Path of Exile. It's just so much smoother and more fun. From, like, a build standpoint, everything is hand-designed, so it's not full of, like, there's no fluff. You're just kind of racing through the game at your own pace and so on and so forth. But I just find it to be a particularly compelling game. Anywho, so I was talking about mods. I was trying to get the mods working, but every time I, like, quit out of the game, it would just reset me back to the previous, like, to where I was before. And it wasn't because I had cloud saving on, so I don't even know. See, they dropped all the new passive skills for Path of Exile. Ooh. Yeah, so... Oh, right. Isn't the next major PoE update, like, League starting this week? Or is it starting, like, a week from today or something? Yeah, a few days. I'll have to decide if I want to dive into it. I mean, we could. I could straight up alternate between Path of Exile and Grim Dawn episodes-wise. My one fear is, like, recording. It never goes well from my perspective, but still. 3 days, 16 hours. Okay. Like, I think last time I streamed Path of Exile, it was just... no one watched. It was sad. Like, anytime I stream a game and I don't crest 100, I'm like, okay, never touch that game again. In one of your Curse of the Dead Gods videos, you talked about how it's punchiness to ARPGs. I think the lack of punchiness has been a major part of why you have trouble getting into them. I wonder if there's a way to fix that. So, I'll be honest, Grim Dawn specifically feels at least a little bit punchier. I think the biggest issue is truly just how you're controlling. You're often fighting swaths of enemies instead of fighting single-target anythings. Yeah, this is why I wanted to come back in here. There's a shrine in here somewhere, and there was a secret little area that I haven't been to before. But, you know, I'm just walking around clicking. Oh, speaking of, I should probably turn that on. I'm just walking around clicking, which does not really imply a whole lot of, like, interesting gameplay. It's mostly just... it's more about the macro building aspect of it than the actual core gameplay, which I feel like it works, that's fine. But if this played closer to Hades or Curse of the Dead Gods, it would probably alienate a large amount of its audience and probably be a lot harder to make. But from, like, a gameplay standpoint, it would be so much more fun. Because, like, I don't know, I adore how... I adore the gameplay in, like, Grim Dawn. I love building my character, but I really am just clicking on the next target here and there. If I had to worry about, like, dodge rolling and, like, blocking, parrying, and a bunch of other stuff, I think I could, I think I'd personally be, like, a lot more engaged constantly. Hello. Soul's Touch. So, Energy Leech. It's much more of a caster gear than what I've got. 'Cause I'm just blastoing through everything. No actual, no reason to stop. Let's see. Find Path of Exile intimidating. I kind of do. I think the biggest issue with it is just, like, it is very much a game that is currently targeted towards its most hardcore audience, because they're the ones keeping it alive, which is good, but I think that does make it a little tougher to get into. I have similar... Oh boy, we have a Frosty Boy back here. Oh, they're also level 34. That doesn't help. There we go. So High Priest rolled Arathis. Probably... No, he's not the Frosty Boy. He's got lightning. Well, my lifesteal and my regen is enough to keep me up. Let's see. So I'm just gonna punch him through. We've got plenty of healing potions, and I'm good. Yeah. Maven's Hood, some other things. But no, I guess the real answer is there's no way to fix it without changing the core gameplay. I can't carry anymore. And I think from my perspective, I would be perfectly fine with a ARPG company actually going through and just redoing the gameplay to be closer to Hades. But I realize that that would alienate such a large amount of their core audience that it wouldn't be worth it. But, like, I still hope for the day where we get Darksiders Genesis, but as, like, a true blue Diablo-like, because I think that would be amazing. So, Maven's Hood. It's more energy-related stuff. And Pilata's Will. Yeah, most of this stuff just doesn't really have, like, much use. The Hades level gameplay with ARPG variety would be crazy hard to pull off. I'm mixed on that, because I feel like,
I'll hold on to that for you.
I feel like ARPGs don't... Apart from, I guess, the build. Because the equipment definitely does not actually provide much variety in these games. There are a couple of items that will, like, really change your build, but otherwise it's just increasing numbers. Which kind of works and kind of doesn't. Platinum ARPG win. Oh, man. That'd be lovely. Just baseline, that'd be really cool. No, I don't know. I think it would be hard to make. I think it would be incredibly hard to make. But I think if the moment somebody pulls that off, well, they're going to have, like, a massive success on their hands. It would just be, like, a massive amount of work, and I don't know. I don't know if it would be worth it for anybody in this current day and age. It'll probably happen as, like, a... Well, I mean, I know there's, like, Chronicon. I should probably take a look at that at some point. Let's see. When do you start offering fans robotized organs? I take a pair of lungs while my bronchitis is being cleaned out of them. You know, funny you say that. I was actually reading an article earlier today about a cancer patient whose lung was removed. They cleaned it, and then they gave it back to him. Which is, on one hand, terrifying. On the other hand, really cool. So, like... Yeah, once we figure out how to make synthetic organs, stuff's gonna go kind of weird. Let's see, you can live with one lung, so it's possible. Yeah, which is horrifying. I don't want to think about any of this beyond just like, man, it would be kind of cool to have like robo organs that last forever and have the ability to switch them out when they start failing. Like, I know people like to look at Ghost in the Shell as kind of horrifying. At the same time, like, the idea of some of that stuff from a medical and, like, a quality of life standpoint would be really cool. You just have to make sure that, yeah, everything is at least somewhat secure. And considering how, you know, most people in charge are, you know, 2 decades at least behind the technological curve, that's not a good sign, but still. Okay. Oh. Oh. I guess we're just done with that. Okay, there is a shrine in here. That's what I'm looking for. Change my parts instantly if they're viable. I would change some things. I would definitely, like... I would definitely be, like, a little leery about, like, just full-sale, replacing all of my organs and all of my everything. But, like... Yeah, as I got older, if I had robo-hands instead, if I had, you know, better heart and so on and so forth, they figure out how to keep brain degeneration to a minimum. Be great. Repo Man. The thing with Repo Man that was all sorts of screwed up was there's a bunch of people that were just, like, cosmetically saying, like, I want a new spine. Okay, so I think that's it for this area. I was actually looking at a character editor, and it was telling me where all of the stuff I was missing was. But we're going to leave that for later. Let's head for Twin Falls instead. Let's see. Or travel through Smuggler's Pass. Might as well travel through Smuggler's Pass. Ooh, Wraithcaller's Mantle. Okay, the bridge is gone. Keep that in mind. Hey, so, yep, bridge is out. I think the one thing that does disappoint me a lot about these, like, sci-fi dystopias is less so that, like, you know, clearly evil is won and whatnot, but, like, it always disappoints me a little bit how little technology is actually used to improve people's lives. Like, it always seems like, here's this amazing thing that we've, like, created, and it made people's lives better. But we're mostly just going to squander it and use it for, like, selfish purposes. And I feel like that wouldn't work. I feel like that would only work a little bit. But, like, you really do need consumer-grade versions of a lot of stuff. So, like, for those of you that haven't seen Altered Carbon, effectively people get these, like, disc things that they attach to the spine, and it carries your consciousness and can be implanted in other bodies, which is really cool. Horrifying, yeah, and in Altered Carbon especially, because, you know, a lot of the characters are straight up just, like, bioterrorists and, you know, using it for extreme amounts of hedonism and some other stuff. Let's see, would you ever consider running an Eclipse Phase campaign? I actually don't know what an Eclipse Phase campaign is, but maybe. I might honestly end up running 2 campaigns this year, simultaneously. Ideally, I'd like to only DM one of the 2, but I'll DM both if I have to. So I wouldn't mind mixing it around. Anyway, finish the thing about Altered Carbon. One of the things that they kind of talked about a little bit was synthetic bodies, and how, like, some of the people just had full-on, like, fake bodies and stuff. And it seemed like it was kind of this undesirable version. Like, somehow it was, like, worse. And I was just thinking, like, you know, honestly, if I were in this universe and you could have, like, a synthetic body that more or less was just, like, didn't need to poop, didn't need to sleep, had, like, more stamina than usual, could, you know, hold your breath for, like, hours on end. Like, I'd be super down with that. And I'm always a little baffled when they're just like, no, instead, human clone body is better. And I'm like, no. Like, nature is cool and all, but after a certain point, our like, ability to handcraft things would probably vastly outstrip what you could have. Assuming it would be safe. Super leery of games and stories that say mechanical body parts and prosthetics make someone less human, because that's a super ignorant view and glosses over people right now that have prosthetics. I didn't even think about that angle, but okay, 1 second. Greetings, you do not know me, but I have heard of you. I'm Balvaruk, of the Order of Death's Vigil. Your exploits lead me to believe that you may be just who I need for my assignment. Assignment? Yes, I'm here to purge this land of several malevolent spirits. Their tainted presence has corrupted Arcovia for long enough. However, my masters... Oh, right, I should move my face cam. Give me a second. I just realized it's in a bad corner. Okay. My masters have underestimated the degree at which these ancient oligarchs have surrounded themselves with their former subjects. The Arcovian undercity is swarming with the dead. I admit far more than I could handle without the aid of my brothers. But you're quickly proving to be a force of reckoning this world has never seen. Travel down to the Undercity and banish the spirits of Nomos Dread, Lados Vagra, and Rovina Kur. When you're finished, seek out my companion Calderos at the entrance to the Steps of Torment. He will guide you to your final target. Sure. Okay. Eclipse Phase is a game system that focuses on transhumanism. One of the big things being able to customize and switch between bodies. Interesting. So if I were to do that, actually, so weirdly enough, that's really close to one of my campaign ideas. Actually, 2 of them. I really want to do a Metabots campaign where all of the players are Warforged. Straight up, every single player playing the campaign is a Warforged. But instead of using the Warforged stat block, everybody is, like, using regular race stat blocks. Because, at this point, Warforged are the only race, and they've just been making them custom to be, like, Orc, Halfling, Goblin, Gnome, Lizard Folk, you name it. All sorts of them. And one of the main, points would be, if your character takes too much damage, you actually take, a permanent injury and either have to repair it or find a replacement part. And so its characters just switching body parts around based on, what's useful. And so I'd even, have unique body parts that would drop as magical items and whatnot. Because I think it would be really cool to have, yeah, just, you straight up fight... Oh, what's a good example? Maybe there's still monsters and some, living things. But say you fight, a particularly big mech with, some really beefy arms. And you've managed to avoid wrecking the arms. You even say, leave his arms alone if you can, and everybody effectively, at minor penalty, if even, tries to leave the arms alone so that they survive the process. And so your fighter suddenly has a new, beefier pair of arms that he switches his old arms out for. And, maybe some would be enchanted, some would have all sorts of things. Because I think that could be really cool. Messy, obviously. Like in the Surge? Yeah. Except for, slightly less body horror. And, even to the point where, the players, even if they died, quote-unquote, it would be more of, your previous body is disabled, go find a new one. So the party members, instead of resurrecting you, would straight up just, go yoink somebody else's body or buy a new one entirely or fix it up or
my inventory is
scrabble
full.
It together and a bunch of other things. But yeah, effectively the Surge, but as a... I think I'm actually going to have to raise the cap on the...
Come see what's left of my
Yeah,
wares.
definitely have to raise the cap on this. We're starting to get too many items. A lot of stuff that I'm just not going to use. But yeah, medieval, the Surge, or sci-fi, I mean, I could look into that sort of thing. Let's see. We don't need Wraith Collars. We don't need Berserker's Coil. That's two-hander.
Put it to good
Okay, let's
use.
just go back out there for a bit. Let's see, would it require the death of an enemy? Like disarm an enemy, grab and run? Oh yeah. No, if people specifically wanted to just yoink and bail, I would say sure, why not? Why the heck not? The other campaign I wanted to do is the Empire one the bad guys took over, and, like, I would effectively try and boring dystopia as hard as possible. So, like, there are rebels, but the rebels aren't, you know, they're more just kind of common criminals, and the main characters are effectively just, like, cops. Hey, thank you, Noodlelot, for the 27-month resub. Makes me wonder if uploading consciousness would cause the person become a sociopath or something. I feel like being able to upload consciousness would definitely, like, screw with people's perception of, like, morality. But I think most people would still be intrinsically good-ish. Let's see, so XCOM 2. Sort of, except for, like, if the aliens actually moved in and really made things nice for everybody. Like, with XCOM 2, you could definitely tell the aliens weren't on the up and up. But it would be one of those where it's, like, straight up, you win XCOM 2, and everybody just kind of hates you because they liked their lives under the thumb of, you know, the evil alien rulers. Because the evil alien rulers truly did want to just improve things. And more or less, they were just like, yeah, your leadership sucks. We're going to just, like, get rid of them. But, so yeah, effectively the main characters, the player characters would be, just basic troopers. I got this idea from watching the stormtroopers in, Mandalorian, because they were legitimately, like, funny characters-ish. Both the Mandalorian and also at Disneyland. Because, like, it was fun watching the First Order troopers just walk around and, like, sass people and each other, and to a lesser degree Kylo Ren. I was like, it would actually be kind of fun to just have a bunch of characters, nearly identical soldiers, you know, they're all wearing the same outfit. You know, there's not, the equipment is super over-designed, so you're not allowed to, like, switch parts out. You have to wear, the same gear as everyone else. Maybe, like, when you rank up, you get, like, a better suit, but that would be about it. But and then, like, the only way you'd identify the characters is everybody gets one piece of flair. So, like, a sash or a feather or something like that. Because I think that would be a fun campaign, and it's effectively just playing on all of the evil Empire tropes. Like, every single thing, like, all of the world building would be, let's take a look at every evil Empire that's ever, like, gone through, and let's subvert that exact trope. So, like, what would be a good example? Was it, like, in The Giver? Maybe it wasn't in The Giver. I remember an evil Empire's... Oh, maybe it was Handmaiden's Tale. Handmaiden's Tale, they made, like, all the fertile women specifically have children, specifically, I think, for the rich and powerful, and effectively turned, you know, all of the young women into slaves-ish? And, like, that's super dark. What I would prefer in this, like, kind of weird pseudo-dystopia would be that, yeah, sexual slavery, thought so. It would be that, like, the Empire, saw that, like, romance is messy and just, came up with, like, peak, plentyoffish.com or whatever, so it's, like, dating is weirdly easy and almost, like, creepily accurate of, like, yeah, you'd probably really like this person, and almost always it's just true. Not that it would matter, but it would just be kind of like a weird side detail that, like, the dating scene is almost non-existent because the algorithm just picks it for you in a very, holistic fashion, and people are just cool with it because, like, it's right. It's just right. What's the range of weaponry in this game? You got bows, I think. You've definitely got guns. A couple of casting-related things, a lot of sword and board things, two-handed weapons. It's not that much, but, like, most of the time you're just clicking on an enemy anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, the Empire's fallen and can't get up. Oh my god. That's... I feel like that would be a great title for a book. For, like, a comedy book. About, like, the evil Emperor trying to, like, fix things after the rebellion goes through and it doesn't work. I don't know how well it would work, though, but it'd be amusing. But yeah, what other things would there be? Maybe to a lesser degree, the idea of, like... Oh, nope, we don't want to go through there. I know in, like, Star Wars, the Empire is extremely human-focused. It would be kind of one of those where it's, like, maybe the Empire even, like, enforces pure anonymity, so everybody looks... everybody's appearances are randomized, so you don't actually look like who you are in public. Or maybe it was, like, closer to Hollow Knight, where everybody has a mask on, and it's, like, this weird great equalizer. Everyone gets paid sick leave. Oh, yeah. Medical benefits. Like, any kind of disaster that would be, hampered by rampant individualism, is just, like, more or less fixed. Okay. I'm trying to think of other, like, kind of notable imperial things that could or would happen. I mean, I'm sure there would be a bunch. But it would definitely be this kind of, like, weirdly placid existence. And maybe the, like, one issue with the Empire, this Empire is that, like, progress is notably slow because everybody's just too comfortable. But even then, like, I don't believe that for a second. I think if everybody's too comfortable, then they start innovating and doing weird things. I mean, I guess maybe I'm a good example of that, like, my life was a bit too cushy, and so I decided to make my own job, sort of. I mean, obviously, there are other people that have trailblazed this before I ever came through. But, like, I always get really itchy whenever anybody says, like, if everybody had, total healthcare and universal basic income, then, like, nobody would do anything. And the answer is, like, no, I think people would do a lot. I think it would be more interesting.
Please stay your weapon, mortal. I only ask that you hear out my plea.
What is it you need?
Many ages ago, my people made a grave mistake, and now we pay for our hubris. Eternally bound to this land, but our children do not deserve the fate placed upon them by our curse. My daughter, Lutra, now stalks the broken hills as a hideous harpy. She suffers for my sins in the body of a monster, bitter, twisted, and having never known a mother's love. Please, mortal, find my daughter. Deliver a swift and merciful end to her eternal torment. If you do this for me, I will gladly give my essence to strengthen yours.
Sure, that's creepy, but sure. But yeah, having a comfortable life means you have more time and energy to innovate. And I will absolutely grant, there will be people that take advantage of any system, no matter how convenient, how many, like, opportunities they're given. I've met people like that. I knew a couple of people that had, like, absolute full rides to college, and, like, more or less spent 4 years of art school stealing art, tracing other people's art, and then graduating to do anything but. But, like, I mean, you kind of reap what you sow, and I don't feel like those people are ever, like, should ever starve because of it. I just don't think they should have as cool of a life. But, like, there's a very distinct reason why we as a people have managed to grow and succeed so much as a result of not being, you know, at risk of the bubonic coming in and just wiping everybody out. Or, you know, having to just subsist off of what meager crops we can farm and a bunch of other things. Ooh, I really like this song. I like this song a lot. Are these the harpies? These are the harpies. Ugh. Like, I always get a little weirded out when you have the, like, strangely sexy harpies, but at the same time, strangely sexy harpies look a fair spot better than, weird horror vultures. I want... Oh, man. I need to do that at some point. Another, like, inversion of expectations kind of thing, where all of the mermaids are just really beefy dudes, and all, like, the minotaurs and the ogres and whatnot are ladies. I get a little weirded out when I see people, like, get really into monster girls and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, this is not something that I'm as super into, and so I'd love to actually just flip it hard. I think maybe part of it is a lot of the, like, media I've seen in regards to, like, monster girls or not is often just because it's kind of, I mean, dehumanizing. They rarely have they rarely have personalities, and they're much more often just, like, this existence to act as fan service. And I don't like that. Maybe that's it. It's just that that genre is rife with fan service. When was the last time you saw a cat girl in an anime that wasn't, like, fan service? I can think of one. And only one. High School DxD had a muscly water spirit. I mean, that's good. It also had a lot of boobs. And if I remember right, the character had the special ability to explode clothes off of people. So, like, I have beefs with that level of writing and design. See, Cat from Breath of Fire 2. No, she's a good one. Specifically, the cat girl I'm thinking of is from Dining in Dungeon. She's specifically not fan service. I mean, compared to some of the rest of the characters, okay, maybe a little bit more attractive, but that's about it. I'm fine with the occasional bits of fan service, but, like, I've straight up been driven off of anime recently because it's so bad. Cause I like me some, you know, Full Metal Alchemist and you know, Cowboy Bebop and stuff. And there's just not nearly as much of that. Maybe anymore. I don't really know how prevalent it was back in the day. It feels like there's a lot, but I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that, you know, there's such a large library of older content that it's easy to pretend. That there was more in the past. I don't know. Ugh. Let's see, the cat people from Log Horizon were more cat-like. That was... The problem is that... I have this other flipped issue where whenever you have, like, cat characters that aren't fan service, the other problem is they have the tendency to say yeah at the end of every word, and that gets really weird. Really annoying to listen to, I guess. More so than weird. Whoa, I am actually taking some damage. Somebody was yelling at me, by the way, that I should actually be just pumping all of my points into physique, because you straight up just start dying in the endgame. So I guess I should start doing that. Let's see, there's a bunch of anime reviewers that help you pick. Oh, I don't need somebody else to tell me which anime to avoid. I can figure that out pretty quick. Honestly, I just read a lot of manga now, which helps as a filter, because it's super quick to find out if there's, like, a lot of fan service, because it's almost always, like, almost more blatant in manga. There's only a couple that, like, really go bad. I think I remember getting really into... What was it? History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi, or whatever that one was. And I'm sure I absolutely ignored it in the first couple chapters, but I'm like, this ain't so bad. And then, like, after a certain point, I'm like, oh, jeez. This is just a bit much. Manga can get graphic. It also feels condensed. Because, like, you can skip more. People fill in the blanks better. Whereas, like, I remember rather liking, oh, shoot. What's the, Food Wars. Whatever the Japanese name of Food Wars is. I remember rather liking the first couple chapters of Food Wars. I thought it was good. There was definitely, like, the one, like, judge lady having a foodgasm, but it was kind of, like, a page, so it wasn't so bad. So I'm like, hey, Shell, this isn't so bad. There's a little bit of fan service, but it's not that big of a deal. And then we load the anime up, and it's like 5 full minutes of this lady losing her shit over fried rice or something. And I'm just like, oh, God. Like, I'm down for food fan service if it's, like, lovingly rendered food and whatnot. Like, I specifically follow several artists on Twitter for their amazingly well-rendered food illustrations. But, like, what does not interest me is just, like, women writhing as they, like, slowly take bites of something. And it's like, ugh. It makes me feel uncomfortable, and it's not the kind of thing that I would share with friends unless they're the wrong kind of friends that you want to share things with, where they're just going to reciprocate by showing you weirder shit. Like, I had one friend once who thought it was okay to share his, like, viewing habits with me, and I was just like, I'm gonna stop you right now and say, don't even ever talk to me about any of this ever again. And we actually just did not remain friends because he couldn't keep to that, and it was very clear that that was so much of his personality that it wasn't really worth talking to him. Let's see. But I also realize that a lot of fan service really does sell, so, like, I can't fault the anime industry for, you know, seeking the extra money as a result of fan service. I just can say, like, I'm just not gonna watch until it goes back to something a little bit more reasonable. Oop. Unfortunately, my Molotov cocktail has become considerably less punchy now that my weapons are insane. I'm gonna leave that over there for a bit. I'll just let my regen handle things. My devotion. Because we actually want... let's see, where's my zombie? There we go. Oh. I didn't realize the game was still going. Well, one way or another, I have actually fairly decent amount of lifesteal. I hope? Feels like it's more. Hopefully it is. Hello, yes? Wow. Those are some hella statues. Oh, go figure I'm taking damage in here. This is a treacherous domain. I'm not actually sure if there's anything of note in here. Nope. I guess we actually do need to go this direction. Okay, never mind. Okay, so lifesteal, not as good as I was hoping it would be. I was hoping I could really just vamp my way through this. But that's a lie. Hello, yes, I could use some food. Some rations. I guess we could go back to town. I think I might be able to get that back. Let's see. This looks a lot like Diablo. As it should. It's not Diablo, but it's very much in the same genre. Unlike Curse of the Dead Gods, I don't know if I've mentioned that, I talked about it a little bit in Curse of the Dead Gods, but I've been actively banning a bunch of people for being weirdly shitty about the game, for looking like a Diablo-like, but not playing like Diablo. Like, it's odd. The fan base for Diablo-likes is ravenous, but they can't stand it if anything, bucks against the trend. Which is, was odd to me, so I guess kind of start encountering with those videos. I didn't have the problem with Hades, but I was having the problem with both, Curse of the Dead Gods and Darksiders Genesis, where something about an isometric camera angle makes people lose their shit and think, it's a Diablo-like! It's like, no, it doesn't play anything at all like a Diablo-like. Then it should! And it's like, what? No, what? Like, I had one guy send a very long message about how, like, the game looks great, so blah blah blah, but, like, he can't stand how you actually, like, control the character and, like, dodge and stuff. It would be much better if you were clicking, and I'm just like, what? No, that's like saying, saying Dark Souls should have been a turn-based game, which I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, I'd actually really like to see somebody take, Dark Souls or whatever, and try and convert that, like, slow, methodical, style of gameplay into a turn-based game, or like a CRPG or whatever, so you have to still plan out, like, when your character dodge rolls and stuff, but you have more time to consider your actions. Like, I think that could actually be really cool.